by my colleague Armando Alas.
Good morning, everyone. Looking forward to an exciting webinar this morning. So, happy to be here.
All right, terrific. So, again, it's our LaunchPad series that we bring to all the ICs every week, every Tuesday at 11 a.m. And, here's the format that we follow for any of the ICs that are joining us for the first time. So we start off with the latest news and articles that we cover for this week that are making headlines in the digital marketing industry and that you should be aware of. So we filter through a whole bunch of different news and articles. We look at least, there's about 30 top industry blogs that we're serving on a regular basis, plus I'd say probably 600-700 different articles that we're serving, and then we extract essentially the best of the news and the articles that we feel bring the most amount of value to you as the ICs, because your time is valuable. So we do all of the filtering of the news and articles, and then bring you pretty much the best of the news and articles that you should be aware of. So that's our first section here, and then we're going to move on to a case study. And Armando's got another exciting case study that's lined up. It's with a client that's been with us for a couple of years. And we recently, I believe, gotten into a web development project with them. So that's a pretty interesting case study that Armando has lined up. It's a furniture company. Actually, it's an office design company, a very high-end office design company that's based out of Ontario. So Armando's going to be talking about that particular case study. And then we got a lot of requests from the ICs to actually do a more thorough review of the Think with Google microsite that we had touched base on last week. Unfortunately, because of the content, we didn't really get an opportunity to spend a lot of time on it. So that's something that we'd be doing this week, and really going through all the different tools that Think with Google offers. It's a really powerful microsite. There's a lot of information in there. What's interesting is that there's tons of unique content opportunities, even just for the ICs and to do their own research and analysis. So that's what we'll be focusing on in the Tool of the Week review this week. And then, of course, we'll finish off with any questions that you have. All right, so let's get started here. So one of the first news items that we wanted to bring to your attention was a recent study that was done by this company that was showcased on both Search Engine Land and Search Engine Watch, talking about what really dominates the universal search results. So when you type in any sort of like a query in Google, you'll see that you're getting a combination more often now of a news listing, perhaps some videos, some images, and then of course your organic listings, and then depending on the nature of the query, you'd also probably be getting some local listings as well, the local pack. So when you get like a sort of like a combination of different queries on one page, that's essentially what is a universal search, which means Google's going to be giving you a mix of different searches, even some product listing ads, some shopping results, all of that mixed into one interface, which is essentially what universal search results is. So this particular company did a study on the most powerful universal search results and what's appearing quite extensively. And then if you look at the infographic on the left-hand side of the screen, back here, you'll see that videos is gaining a lot of prominence in the universal search. So 65% of the time, you'd be getting a video in the results. What does that tell us? Video is definitely becoming increasingly important, more and more important for your clients and yourself. So it's very important to focus on video. And for those of you that didn't attend a couple of sessions that we had previously, this was, I believe, in the month of May, we've launched an explainer video service. And it's a very inexpensive service. It's only, I believe Armando has the price. How much is the price, Armando, for the explainer video? Is it $350 or was it
yeah, it's
$350, right?
Yeah, it ranges from $250 to $500 depending on length of the video, depending on are we doing animated text video. So we do have quite a few options for the ICs, and pretty much we have a very good process as well.
Correct, exactly. So we can actually do an animated video or 1-minute animated video for as less as I believe $250 or $300, depending on the complexity, and then you can mark it up, times 2 or times 3. And the reason why we started offering the explainer video service, more so the explainer videos, because they are a great conversion tool. A lot of companies use explainer videos quite effectively, and if you need examples, again, shoot us an email. We'll definitely send you out examples for explainer videos. They not only help you explain your product better to prospects and visitors that are coming to your site, they also help you start getting some, some video properties, so that this way you have your YouTube channel, you can actually syndicate your video online or either through YouTube or other channels that are out there. So the videos definitely is dominating universal search results, something to focus on. They're very important. And so if you need more information, you can actually go to the article. It's on Search Engine Watch and Search Engine Man, and then they actually break it down in terms of what other areas or aspects of search results are getting really, really popular. Shopping is getting up there. That's getting displayed a lot. News sources are getting displayed a lot. The knowledge graph on the right-hand side. So the images that used to be appearing on the left-hand side within the search results are now appearing in the knowledge graph on the right-hand side. So that's where the images are basically showing a lot in the search results now. But video definitely dominates the universal search. So something to focus on. Great. So here's an interesting story that was breaking news last week. So there's a company called Equestic Solutions, a Canadian company, and what they were claiming was that there was a competitor of theirs that sold trade secrets, actual competitive secrets, like the company's secrets, and was selling networking devices on Google. So Equestic, they basically make networking devices. They have a lot of proprietary, patented trade secrets that are associated with the networking devices. And what their competitor did was that they actually took these trade secrets, they developed their own product, and then they started selling it online. And they were doing a lot of paid advertising. They were also doing a lot of organic optimization. So they were getting a lot of traction through Google. So Equestic actually went to court for a final lawsuit against this company, and had what they were requesting was that Google remove all of the search results that link to the rival's company, and that's over 300 different websites. So they wanted the court to essentially rule in their favor and have Google remove all of the 300 websites that the rivals mentioned on because they were infringing their patents and their trade secrets. The Supreme Court of BC, which is British Columbia, actually ruled in the favor of Equestic, and this happened last week, and issued a temporary injunction, which essentially means that Google has to remove all of these results appearing in Google across google.ca. Now, what's more interesting is that the court not only requested Google to remove all of the results from Canada, but they also requested Google to remove all of the results of this particular company in the other countries as well. Now, the story has it that Google did voluntarily offer to remove all of the results from google.ca, but they did not want to remove it from the other sites like, google.uk, Google France, and the Google US site, because they said that the Canadian law only applies for Canada, and we are definitely going to be honoring that. However, the judge's response was, we just got to keep up with the times. So the fact of the matter is that when you have this website that's actually dealing with a patent infringement in Canada, it's also impacting the sales are also getting impacted, whether it's US, France, UK, or what have you. So you have to remove it from across the board. So everybody is still awaiting Google's response on this, but this is going to be very interesting, because if this does happen and Google is forced to remove all of the results from Equestic's competitors, then this just opens up a huge Pandora's box for all the other companies to go after anybody that's infringing their patents and request a blocking of their websites and their URLs. Now, this is along the lines of something else that had happened recently, which we showcased in our previous LaunchPad webinar, and that was Google for being forced in the European Union. I believe it started off from Germany, where they have to forcibly, if somebody requests anonymity and they want the results removed, there's a form that you fill out, and then Google has to remove all the results that are associated with that name of that person mandatorily. And this is being spread all across the EU. So it's I would say the start of the end of sites like the Rip-Off Report and a whole bunch of issues, and that created this whole reputation management industry. But it'd be interesting to see how Google kind of reacts to all of this that's happening, because they do want to protect, the internet and the openness associated with the internet. So it's going to be interesting on how these two instances play out and how Google reacts to them. Okay, so here's something that Google swore that they would never ever do. So here's something against Google, but hey, personally, I'm not opposed to it. I think it's great that Google's actually getting into this, because it's a confusing area. So Google has said that they are not a domain name registrar, and they'll never ever be a domain name registrar. So that's not something they're into. They're mainly in the search, making the internet more accessible. That's really what their whole goal is. And they were not interested in domain registration at all. Well, they changed their mind apparently, because last week Google launched an invite-only beta for Google domains. And what it is basically an avenue for you to go in and register your domain names. So all you have to do is just go to domains.google.com, and then it's not something as flashy as like GoDaddy and some of those interesting Danica Patrick ads that Google's launched. They have a very simple sort of like a landing page where you can go in and you can search for a domain name, and then if it's available, you can register it. But it's an invite only, so if you actually go there right now and you try and register a domain name, it's not going to work for you. But you can request an invite to be testing this particular feature. There's a form that you need to fill out on this URL that's at the bottom, and then you can you'll be getting an invitation, and then you can start participating in Google Domains. Again, a very interesting move, and this comes in the lines of GoDaddy filing an IPO. So a lot of buzz in the industry that Google did it right after GoDaddy filed for the IPO. So they probably realize and understand the power and the revenue associated with this whole domain registration business, and they want to get into it because they want to basically give a one-stop shop to all the users. Again, let's see how this plays out. But Google's launched this invite-only beta for domain registration. Okay, so Rand Fishkin did a really interesting study, and this is something that's been an ongoing debate for a very long time. If queries and clicks influence Google's results directly. So there's been this myth, and perhaps a reality now, but there's been this whole myth that the better the click-throughs on a particular search result, doesn't matter if it's on the second page or the third page or the fourth page, Google's going to be understanding the click-through rates for the different listings that they have on Google, and then depending on a higher click-through rate, they can potentially look at bumping up a particular result and show it more favorably as far as the results are concerned. So there's been a lot of controversy about this. Google obviously denies it. I mean, they deny any association of clicks with the rankings. So Rand Fishkin did a really interesting study. Rand's the CEO of Moz. So he did an interesting study. He put out this Twitter post saying that he had a theory and he wanted to test it. So he said, can you search for IMEC Lab in Google and then click the link from my blog, right? So let's go to the actual case study. So this is the whole post that Rand's put out here. Here's the link, and it's actually on our slideshow as well, so you can look at. Very interesting read. So basically, right now, when you put in IMEC Lab, you are seeing IMEC's website coming up, which is imec.be. So that was the website that was coming up. And so he put out this post that said, okay, you want to help me with a Google theory or a test? Search for IMEC Lab in Google, and then click on the link from my blog. Because what Rand did was that he basically created a post on IMEC Labs on his website, moz.com. As you can see over here, moz.com/Rand IMEC Lab. So he tweeted that out there, and there's a whole bunch of people that responded back, and they started clicking on his link. He estimates that there's anywhere from 175 to 250 people that likely saw the tweet and took the action. He got the most amount of visits from Google on the 30th of April, which is when he'd actually put out the tweet. And because if you compare to the 29th of April, he only had 7 visitors on that landing page, right? So if you look at the activity that this landing page got, Google basically gave about 228 visits, right? A good percentage overall. Average time in site was 121. Site average was 40 seconds. And then Here's the interesting thing that happened. When he checked the results a couple of days back, look at what happened over here. You type in IMEC Lab, and it actually pushed the official IMEX website down to the second position, and you see Moz's position being number 1, right? So this was a major thing that happened over here based on this little test that he done. And bear in mind, it was a new landing page that he created, so it didn't have any sort of like traction. It was a brand new landing page that he created, and he basically got them to tweet. It was ranking 7 previously, and as soon as he did that tweet, and he got all these social signals, plus all this traffic from Twitter, it boosted him from the 7th position straight up to the top position for this particular keyword, right? Now, obviously, he says, look, take this test with a grain of salt because the position's not sure if it's going to last, if it's going to be there for a long time. But if he checked all the different, Google.ca, Google.au, et cetera, he was doing fairly well. All right. But in the Google universal search, which is like like non-biased, non-personalized, non-region specific U.S. results, when he actually did this query, he's ranking at the top. So Rand does go on to say that there is some sort of a connection. If you're an authoritative website in Google's eyes, and then you let's say put out a post that's referring to a particular keyword, and then you get enough traffic to that particular post, Google's gonna the algorithm's going to review the fact that this is trending, it's popular, people are looking for it, and it's going to actually give you a temporary boost in the rankings. Now, whether this boost is temporary or whether this boost is permanent is, again, something to be experimented on. But the fact of the matter is that if they do see something trending on your website and it's doing well, they're going to push it right at the top. And does not matter even if it's beating your actual corporate website. But the fact of the matter is that the Moz post is doing a lot better. So this was kind of like an interesting test that Rand did. And there's another link. If you do want to participate in Rand's tests, you can click on this link over here. And then there's a little questionnaire that you need to fill out. So, just click on apply for the IMEC Lab. So there's a little survey that you need to finish off over here if you want to participate in tests. And the IMEC Lab basically is a full form for the Internet Marketing Experimental Cooperative, right? So that's really what it stands for. And then you just basically fill out this form, and then they're going to evaluate if you're a good site for including in testing. And then if you are, and if you get selected, then basically you'll be participating in all these different tests that Moz is going to be conducting. This is to try and understand and decode the all-powerful Google algorithm. But a very interesting case study. And then you can also look at some of the comments. At the bottom, there's a lot of great people that add a lot of great value in the comments. So definitely read up the comments as well. There's a lot of good information, a lot of good learning in the comments. All right. Moving ahead, so Armando's got a really interesting case study lined up. So I'll pass it over to Armando.
Thank you, Avnish. Yeah, sorry, just to clarify, the case study was it wasn't RWD, it was an adaptive SEO. Sorry, I kind of messed up on the title of the case study. So I know that we've been speaking about ASEO for the past few weeks and just trying to provide more insights into what ASEO is all about. So this is one of the case studies that we kind of have worked on as part of our process to be an official supplier, and this is a Canadian company. I've kind of touched base on it a little bit in the past, but this kind of signals one of the overall components of ASEO, and it's really we've been working with this client for quite a long time, and what I wanted to share with you was a little bit about what we've done with them over the past years, but mainly also over the past 6 months with them to kind of help them increase their traffic. So Mayhew.ca, it's a Canadian company. Basically what they do is they do office interior designs, and they primarily focus on the corporate sector, the private sector. They also do a lot of work with public entities, municipalities, and basically they do total workplace strategy, workspace design. So if you're looking at kind of developing your office and having the latest and the most ergonomic furniture. Well, this is what we're doing with them. So basically, with Mayhew, one of the challenges they had when they came to us was that their SEO, there was a lot of competition in Toronto because that's their main market, and they didn't really have any online marketing strategy in place, and their visibility was very, very low. As a matter of fact, they are not really based in Toronto. They're based just outside of Toronto, and the reason I say that because I'm going to touch base on it a little bit as well. But their main goal was to really geo-target the city of Toronto and its other suburbs of Western Ontario. So that was a goal. They definitely wanted to increase the search engine rankings. They wanted to do a little bit of online lead generation. For the most part, right now, their main lead generation was email marketing, as well as some traditional marketing and networking that they have. They have a special sales force, but they definitely wanted to kind of start getting some presence online. So what we developed with them was really a very well-rounded online marketing strategy, taking all the components from ASEO together. Now this is kind of just to explain, this is pre-ASEO launch, but in reality, as we have mentioned in the past, adaptive SEO is not, it's just a combination of how we put things together with a specific methodology, and this was one of the case studies that we had developed using that methodology that now it's been officially formulated by WSI. So what we did was an SEO strategy with 6-month review. Given the nature of their industry, very competitive, every 6 months we actually have a very thorough look at the client's performance, not just keyword performance, competitive analysis. We look at also obviously their organic traffic, direct traffic. We look at what others are doing in the link building strategy. So we kind of do that every 6 months. We do a strategic link building with them, local directories, different industry-related directories, social book marketing, and we also do content writing. Now, we have faced challenges in the past, specifically with their technology. Their technology is it's basically a custom website. They don't really have a CMS, so it has been a bit of a challenge at times where the SEO implementation or the SEO strategy has outgrown the technology, and this is why right now the client's in the process of developing a new website. However, having said that, following the same formula, the adaptive SEO formula, we've been able to generate some results. Now, they've been very participatory. They're a great client for one of the ICs here in Toronto. They get involved in everything from helping us with the content writing, the PR writing. Some of that writing we do it ourselves. Sometimes they provide it for us, and they also do videos. And as you can see right now, Vinicius is kind of showing you where we kind of have most of our news and PR. For some ICs that still have some questions whether PR still works, I can tell you that it has worked for them. They do get traction online in the results for their PR pieces. Some of them are very short, some of them are long, but you know what? We try to keep doing at least one PR piece a month for them. And as you can see, they have a database. Now remember, it's not a CMS, so we have to lay it out as much as working with the technology that the client has. And it's gotten to a point now that we have to kind of move on to a WordPress, CMS, content management system. So we're trying to follow the best practices, articles, PR pieces, having images, optimizing those images, inner link building as well, focusing on specific keywords. For example, this was on space optimization that we were in modern office, which is one of the keywords that we're optimizing for office designs. So you can kind of see that the client has developed a wealth of content as part of their overall strategy, as well as videos. They're kind of being very active with videos. So we've kind of taken that opportunity. They do have an advertising agency that does their videos professionally and so on. So we've also been able to generate some results from that. The other thing is, if we go back to the presentation, sorry, There we go. Oh, okay, perfect. The other area where we've been working with them is on we have a very small PPC and remarketing campaign. I believe right now we're around $750 per month, and that's mostly for branding. We do get some leads from PPC and the remarketing strategy, but what the client wanted to do was really be specifically for the target market audience, which are public entities, anything from a municipal mayor's office or let's say education facility, basically kind of those type of people be in front of them, and their PPC and remarketing has yielded some really good results. The reason we can tell you that is because, as I go to the next slide, how we are actually tracking it. But again, it's not a large, a PPC campaign. Mind you, when they close one or two contracts from PPC, I mean, these contracts are pretty sizable, because not only do they do the actual consulting of how to design your office space, but they also provide furniture for it. So you could be looking at $500,000 or up to $1 million, $1.5 million per contract. So, but their PPC campaign, we have specific landing pages where we send them to, and it helps us out with what we're developing for them. The PPC strategy has definitely worked, and the remarketing, in essence, has also worked for them. The other key area that we're working on with them, they do have an in-house person that does a bit of social media. Okay, and basically the social media strategy they focused mainly was Twitter, Facebook. Then we kind of really started working with them directly, the IC, and told them, look, we got to focus on LinkedIn. Let's get in YouTube, and let's start doing some Google Plus. And we've kind of done that. They've been very active on Google Plus. The only area that we need to take the clients to the next level, which is where we're kind of focusing with them right now in this next 6 months, because they're this year, the next 6 months, we're going to be focusing on two areas that I mentioned last week when it comes to efficiencies or how to get the most results out of Google Plus, which is really, earning those plus ones and getting reviews, as well as comments and feedbacks, right? So that's an area where we're now focusing, because now that the client has been posting on a bi-weekly or weekly basis a lot of different posts on Google Plus, we want to start leveraging from that and help us with our SEO rankings. The other area where we've been focusing with them is also on consulting them on web enhancements, not just alone on the new website, but also with what they have today. What are the things that they need to do to improve anything from adding social media badges to actually creating landing pages, to tracking different pages for different campaigns that they're running apart from PPC. So these are the things that we've done with them. The results, Mayhew now has a very strong presence in Southern Ontario, specifically for the keywords that we're going after, and in the cities that we're going after, which is Toronto, Windsor, Kitchener, and Ontario. The only challenge where we're having a little bit of, and this is part of marketing, right? There's always good news and there's always areas of improvement, is Google Plus, because their main office is located just outside of Toronto. Just in the bureaus of outside Toronto, our Google Places performance in Toronto hasn't been up to par. We've contacted Google, try to see what we can do to improve that, but they pretty much told us, look, the office is not in Toronto, so therefore, you're going to get these types of results. So now we're working with the client to see if it's possible that they can get a Toronto address, an official Toronto address as well. So that probably will take a little bit of time, because it's a level of investment for them. Again, as I'm going to share in the next slide in a few seconds, the keywords related to their services has increased. They have seen an increase in telephone inquiries, approximately 20% of new leads on a monthly basis. And the good thing about this client and the IC is that they work with us hand in hand, and on a monthly basis we meet and we kind of go over the results, and they give us the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're also seeing an increase in online inquiries. people completing the forms. So apart from telephone inquiries, we track online inquiries. The director the VP of marketing, he has a very good in-house process to track all these, so that helps us. In the reporting, the client didn't really want to use G-Shift at this time, so we've been mainly using Google Analytics, Google AdWords reporting, but the key thing that has helped us measure the performance, and also the IC can now justify the return on investment and can tell the client, look, these are how many leads we've developed, is because we also work with the client to develop these monthly reports and get how many telephone inquiries were web-based, SEO-based or PPC-based, and we kind of have a process that we work with them. And then the other key thing is, do have your meetings with your client on a monthly basis. Be religious about it. If it's a pretty sizable account, you definitely want to invest the time with the client. And I can tell you that this is something that we've seen very good from the IC. It has their monthly meetings. We do come sometimes on the calls, probably every 2 months, every 3 months as the support group, and we do meet with we do have telephone conversations with the client. So definitely creating that transparency, and the client feels confident that there's a team behind it working towards this process. With the new techniques in adaptive SEO that we've kind of laid out, or has been laid out by WSI, we kind of have already developed a schedule to put them together on their new website. Here are some of the results that are part of the case study. If you want to have a copy of it, you can email us and we can send you some results. As you can see, Toronto Google Places still having some challenges there, but overall keyword rankings for very competitive keywords in Toronto, we're ranking pretty well. Have very top 5, top 7 rankings. And the good thing about it is the client's very flexible. After 6 months, we do a review of the keywords, and if we find maybe 1 or 2 that are lacking, or maybe 1 or 2 that are not generating the results that we want, we think we kind of provide recommendations, and then sometimes we replace them. So we don't replace all the keywords, but we do give the client that flexibility to seek out new ways of generating traffic. And as you can see on the left-hand side, some of the results from Google Organic. I kind of took just a bit of a screenshot from November just to share some of the increments in traffic. December is a slow month for them. It's Christmas time, so they're pretty much closed for 2 weeks. So there's a natural slowdown of traffic. But overall, the campaign keeps steady, growing. Now it's not an upward spike every month. It's gradual growth, and that's what you kind of also have to educate your client after you've had them for about 24 months or 18 plus months, is that the growth they will experience when you have a foundation, strong SEO foundation, it's not going to be spike. It's going to be slow, gradual growth where you're strengthening its positioning for the specific keyword. So at the bottom also I've shared some results from overall organic search, which looks been very positive. That's very important to share. The last thing I wanted to kind of share, just on the right-hand side, where you see the other geo targets, and this is where again Google sometimes you don't understand what how they operate, but we are ranking very well for the cities where they do have offices. But for example, Ontario is a province, and it's not really a city, and even though they have many offices in Ontario, they are ranking well in there, but there isn't really, it's not a city address, right? But we're ranking there, number 2 for office interior design, but we're not ranking at all right now in Toronto. So those are the things that we try to, inconsistencies sometimes with Google Places. So if you're having challenges with some of the Google Places where maybe you want to rank for a specific city, but your client doesn't have an office in that city, you can let us know. We'll see what we can do. But typically, Google right now has gotten very aggressive on making sure that if you want to rank on Google Places for specific cities, that you have that city, you have an address, an official address there. So this is Mayhew. If anybody wants a copy of the case study, feel free to let us know, and we'll email it to you, and you can use it on your presentations. Vinish, also, I'm not sure if you have a couple of words there, because I know that we worked together on this SEO program.
I think you kind of summarized it very well, Armando. I think the only thing that I'd want to add is the fact that the client is really, really amazing when it comes to tracking. So they have the receptionist that's actually sitting down. The receptionist's got a nice little a form that asks the pertinent question, where did you hear about us? And if it's Google, she even asks them, okay, do you remember the keyword or the query that you typed in when you're actually looking for us? So the receptionist is actually geared to that sort of a level in order to really understand the source of the leads that are coming in, so the client can really understand what's working and what's not. Because the client also does a lot of traditional advertising. So they do a lot of trade shows. They do a lot of handouts, or their sales team goes out to corporate offices and they give out brochures. So there's a lot of traditional advertising that they're doing. So that's why this client's very anal when it comes to understanding which lead source is actually delivering results for them, so they can actually invest more in the lead source. So that's one thing that is really good, because what the client has realized over the years is that a lot of the traction does come in from the work that the digital team is putting in, which is us and the IC in this case, and has given us credit for those leads, and which is why they've continued to stay with us for such a long time. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Armando, but I think that probably going into our 4th year with us, if I'm not mistaken, right? And,
yeah. But and the thing is, educating even, it's a more of a mature client where, sometimes the clients all they want to see every month is spikes in traffic, right? But it doesn't work that way. And specifically, if you're going after keywords, that might not generate a lot of traffic. So it's really a lot about, and I think that the IC has worked very well with us in educating the client.
Excellent. Yeah, that's right. So that's the only thing that I wanted to add in, where if you can educate your client to track the lead source really carefully to the extent that this client is doing, more often than not, you'd be surprised at the results, because a lot of the credit is actually going to be going to you as opposed to some of the other marketing activities that the client is doing, and the client salespeople are trying to take credit for a lot of the leads that are getting generated, when in actual reality it's your digital marketing work that's paying off, and that's what's generating the leads. So it's very important from that perspective. All right. So again, as Armando said, if you need more information on this case study, please shoot us an email. We can actually arm you with some more information. We can get you a testimonial from the IC that can be utilized. So whatever you need as far as this case study is concerned. So coming to our tool of the week section. Now I know we spent just a little bit of time last week, but we got a lot of requests from the ICs to actually spend more time and really go through the Think with Google property, the microsite, and all of the different tools and products that they have available. So here it is. Now, in terms of the products, I think every one of us is pretty aware of what the products are, but this is a great sales page for the ICs. When you're going out there and you want to educate your prospects or your clients on the potential opportunities for advertising, on where the marketing dollars can be spent are out there, this is a great sort of like a little slide. So you have search ads. That's your traditional PPC ads. So you type in a search in Google and then related ads show up. Then you have mobile ads. So if, let's say, your business is on the go, or the visitor is on the go and they're typing searches on mobile, you're going to have mobile ads showing up. They're a little different than search because they're more call to action oriented. They have the tap to call icons. They're shorter, so more precise, as there's some other differences as well. And then you have YouTube, with the #1 video site on the planet. There's tons of advertising opportunities with YouTube, including pre-roll ads that can be like short video clips for like 20 or 30 seconds. And that's where these explainer videos about your company come in really handy, because you can have a little explainer video for 30 seconds, giving a little quick preview of your company's product, and then you have your contact information displayed. That's where YouTube comes into play. Google's display network is massive. This is essentially all the websites that display ads from Google on their properties because they're making money. It's called Google AdSense. So Google's display network has over 1 billion websites that are displaying Google ads, text ads, display ads, etc. And this is a great opportunity to be a part of the display network where you can actually spend a part of your budget. And there's another aspect, remarketing, which is the whole aspect of showing ads to people that have visited your website and then follow them all across the internet. That's called remarketing. Remarketing works really well with display because you have people that have come to your website, and then after that they're browsing different sites. They're on CNN or they're on CBC, et cetera, and they'll see your ad come up. So it's a very powerful way to utilize Google's display network. There's Google Plus for brands. Google hasn't really come out with a very strong advertising product for Google Plus, but they're experimenting with different things like sponsored posts, etc., kind of like what Facebook and Twitter are doing. But they haven't really come up with a very strong product for Google Plus. But there is, again, a very strong correlation with how you do in organic compared to your Google Plus profile. The stronger that you are, the more pluses that you have, the better your organic listings. They also have something called a double-click digital marketing platform. This is more so for the affiliate marketing side of things, and again, a very powerful platform that competes with the likes of advertising.com. There's Yahoo. Yahoo's got a great affiliate platform. There's a lot of sites that they have. There's Commission Junction. That's a huge affiliate platform. So DoubleClick is directly in competition with them. Again, something to take advantage of, but you got to have deep pockets for this. I think the minimum campaign started between $5,000 and $10,000 a month. Analytics, of course. And what's really interesting is Google Consumer Surveys. This is something that I really have. If your client's doing PPC, then I'd really suggest that you look at Google Consumer Surveys. So what Google Consumer Surveys is that you can basically pay as low as 10 cents a response. You set up a survey that's actually sent by Google's interface to your clients, okay, and they rate your services. So it's kind of like a rating platform, but it's officially from Google, okay. Once the customer replies back and they rate you positive, so again, only send it to customers that have a positive sort of like an influence in your product, so they're very satisfied with your product. What Google does is that in your PPC ad, they add an extra line that says, look up this customer's Google Consumer Survey. And then this way, people can actually click on the surveys, learn more about your company before they actually buy your product. But it's a lot more confidence because now you have Google's official link with Google's consumer surveys that are below your PPC ad. So this adds a lot of the credibility to your product that you're putting out there. So it's a great product, and it's not that expensive. It's only 10 cents for you to set up a survey and send it out. Google officially sends it out, collates all the results, and then starts showing these consumer surveys, associates them with your PPC listing. I believe they're also doing a beta with organic listings to associate consumer surveys with organic, but they're definitely coming up on your PPC ads. So where a particular visitor can look at more of your surveys. All right, so now let's focus on some of the tools that Google provides us. Google Trends, I think, needs no introduction. I think everybody over here is pretty educated on what Google Trends is, how it works. I mean, Trends is great to understand what's happening to your for your brand, for your competitor's brand, for your keywords. When are the spikes? You can compare like 5-7 year averages to see where the spikes are. What month you should be focusing on in terms of advertising. So that's what Google Trends is all about. Brand Impressions is a pretty cool product. It's relatively new. You can basically sort of like build a story with Brand Impressions. You can just type in any keyword, let's say it's Apple or whatever the brand is, hit build, and it's actually going to build up a whole picture for this brand in terms of what images are out there, what words, what actions are really getting the buzz, and it keeps changing, so that you can actually build a nice little story with this Brand Impressions tool. So it's a very, very cool tool to sort of like build a story about a particular brand, and then again showcase it to your prospects or your visitors. YouTube's dashboard is great from a content perspective, because if we actually go to this tool right now and we try it out, so let's try this tool out right now. If you're looking at my tool, so the Trends dashboard actually gives you a full snapshot of what's popular, what's trending in which part of the world. So you can actually look at the U.S. and you can actually go dig down deeper as far as the U.S. is concerned into all these different cities, and you can see what's trending. What's even better is that you can actually split it up by age group. So, if you want to, let's say if your client's targeting the demographic of 35 to 44 years, right? And in the U.S., you can actually look at what's trending for the the 35 to the 44 years old. So if you click there, 35 to 44, there you go. So that's what's trending. Funny, 35 to 44 people looking at Grand Theft Auto. Interesting. So there you go. So here's all the data sets that you can do. And you can map it up as well. In the trends map, it loads up the data. So in the different parts of the U.S., you can actually see what's trending. Like, in the West Coast, you got a little WWE video that's trending. In the West Coast, out in Seattle, you can see again it's the same video that's trending. And down south, we got the Grand Theft Auto that's trending. And the center, you got the First Moon Party that's trending. So it's pretty cool. And then again, you can actually split it up by different age groups, right? And then there's a blog, so you can actually look up on what's really trending. And this can also be a nice little content area where you can actually look at different content pieces that you potentially want your client to write about. So this can be a great avenue to try to identify those trends and then potential content topics for your client, depending, of course, on the industry, right? You have the display benchmarks tool. A lot of the times you get asked from the ICs, okay, what's a good click-through rate for this banner in this industry? How do I basically look at that? So the display benchmark tools comes in really handy because what this does is that it actually gives you the industry standard click-through rates for the different banners based on the country that you're at, right? So here's all the different filters that you have. You can filter out by country. You can filter out by vertical, so which industry are you looking at. You can filter out by sizes, so if you want to see which size does what. And you can filter out by formats, right? So flash, image, like a streaming banner, in-page banner, rich media, video banner, et cetera, et cetera. And then what it does is that based on your filtering, it actually starts giving you standardized click-through rate. So the interaction rate is 2.18%, which is the average for rich media impressions. The average interaction time is 12 seconds, expansion rate 1.1 second, click-through rates, et cetera, et cetera. So this is, again, a really great tool for when you want to get some display advertising stats. Like, what's the standard in my industry, in my country, for this particular size of format? How am I doing? Am I above the average? Am I below the average? So this is a great display benchmarks tool. Google's always changing the numbers because, again, they have some huge amount of data to go with. So they're always changing numbers. Always good to look at. Looking at the next tool. So this is a really fascinating tool, and I think all of the ICs should really incorporate this particular slide in their presentations. This is just really fascinating. So what Google's done is that they've actually taken the customer journey for an online purchase. Okay, so when you look at your customer's journey, there's 4 major steps that a customer takes during their whole decision-making process. There's the awareness stage, the consideration stage, the intent stage, and the decision stage. So what Google has basically done is that it's actually showing you what avenues impact the different stages in the buying cycle for a client. So for example, at the awareness stage, you might have a display click. That's the display is the most powerful stage for awareness, where people are looking at your banner or your text ad, they come to discover your brand, and they click on it. Consideration, social is a huge component for the consideration stage. Intent is great as an email, so like it's assisting the interaction that's going to be taking place. Plus, you also have paid search and referrals, and then of course you have finally your decision. Your decisions, as you can see, organic searches, direct, et cetera, are directly contributing to the decision-making process, right? Direct, of course, because once people have discovered your brand, they know you, they want to buy from you, they'll go directly to you. Organic, again, they're looking for you because they know about your brand, so they might type your brand or a related keyword on Google and then discover your website and then go in and buy the product, right? So this is really, really cool. I think this slide, this particular image should be incorporated in all of your IBAs and your proposals that you send out to your clients, so just to kind of really give them a nice little snapshot of how people go through the different buying stages, right? Now, Google makes this even more interesting. They actually break it down by industry, so you can actually look at all the different industry data here. They also break it down by countries. They don't have all the countries here, There are primarily 6 or 7 countries that you can look at where they have data from, and then they actually break down the entire buying cycle based on the industry and based on the country. So they can actually even customize it to the industry, and you can actually showcase this buying cycle for a particular industry. So I think this is a really, really neat tool, and this image right here should be a part of your standard IDAs, because it really gives you a nice little breakdown of how everything works. Data board for research insights. So I wish Google publishes more case studies over here, because it's not that that much of information right now. So like if you click on the data board for research insights, there's different studies that Google's done that you can then interact with these studies and then come up with your own data sets and then include that in your proposals, IBAs, in your research process, or in your interaction with your clients. So they've done search for brands, local search behavior, some YouTube insights. So as you can see, there's not a lot of data sets here, but this, hopefully they can expand in this. And again, you can build your own infographic with these studies, play around with it. Then you have the mobile planner tool, which is kind of cool because you can see how different parts of the globe are interacting with mobile. But this is something that, again, I find a lot of value in, especially when the ICs want to educate the clients on what the power of mobile is. So the way that it actually calculates, it's a full calculator for the power of mobile. You basically click on the tool. You go to the full value of mobile tool that Google provides you, and so you go to the calculator, and there's a couple of ways that the calculator works. So the first way is that you can enter the data in manually, or you can actually upload your AdWords data, right? So if you enter the data manually, then it's going to ask you questions like so first you do your your date range, click on the date range, then it's actually, and then you hit calculate, then it's going to have you put in your information. How many clicks did you get from your mobile ads? How many visits did you get? How many purchases did you have? What did that translate into dollar terms? And then this whole thing starts calculating the value of mobile for you. So you can actually see what the mobile site's really doing for you. A very, very cool tool that, again, shows you on a monthly basis. You can actually show the power of mobile to your customers based on the work that you're doing and the traction that it's getting, and then potentially upsell them on more mobile properties, whether it's a mobile website that needs to be built, or whether it's a responsive design website that needs to be built. The full value of mobile, this whole calculator, this tool goes a really long way in showing that power of mobile to your customers. So again, a really, really cool tool that Google has. So these are like just some of the resources, some of the planning tools that Google's basically put out there. There's a whole bunch of other tools as well. These are like the main ones that are there that we've showcased today. There's all these different solutions, related products that you can basically go through. So yeah, just play around with it. There's a lot of cool info. Might take a little bit of getting used to, but it's a lot of good information out there. Okay, terrific. So again, you all know about us, and if you have any questions, feel free to shoot us an email, Armando or info@wsilm.com. Let's take some questions now. Okay, so the first question is from Mark Patton about explainer videos. Yep, you got the spelling right, Mark. Explainer videos, and what we do is I'll have Armando send you a couple of examples on how we can set up explainer videos. And again, explainer videos, as the word suggests, is essentially a quick video that explains to a visitor what your client's product or service is all about. Mark has another question with regards to Google+. Should I be upgrading all of my clients from Google+ to Google My Business? So that's automatically happening, Mark. So we wouldn't touch that because Google is in the process of upgrading all the clients automatically from Google+ to Google My Business, which is going to become the standard going forward. So we shouldn't interfere with the process. Google said that they're going to be upgrading it themselves. So let's see how long that takes. So Adrian had, oh great, Adrian had some, there's no questions, just commenting on the great information. Terrific. Oh, glad you could make it, Adrian. That's great. No other questions? Terrific. Excellent. Great. Thanks for joining us for yet another edition of our LaunchPad series. And this is going to be recorded. It's going to be uploaded on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/WSI-ALM. So if you missed out any of the sessions, feel free to check out our YouTube channel. And once again, Armando and me wishing all of the ICs a fantastic week ahead. Great. Thanks, everyone.